Welcome, my dear student, in the next chapter of political science, that is, chapter number 4, United Nations. So, children, let's get start with today's lesson of United Nations Module 1. So, the following topics that we are going to cover or we are going to study in this Module 1 are introduction of the chapter, background of the situation, chronology of the United Nations, objectives of the United Nations, and principles of the United Nations. So, children, let us start with today's chapter, United Nations Module 1. Children, as in your previous chapter, that is chapter number 1, post-World War political development, in that we have studied that why the UN has been established, the reason for the formation of the United Nations. The United Nations is an international organization which was established to ensure peace and security at the international level. We also have studied that this particular organization was formed after the Second World War. In this chapter, that is United Nations, we are going to study some of the major objectives, the principles, the structure, and the role of securing peace in the world. So let us see the background of the UN, that is United Nations. Children, as in your earlier chapter, that is chapter number 1, post-World War political development, in that chapter we had studied about two different world wars, which was fought at the beginning of 20th century. Due to this war, the life and the property were destroyed on a large scale. As a result, after the First World War, a new organization came into an existence which was called as a League of Nations. But this organization did not succeed at preventing war. Autocratic regimes came up in Germany, Italy, France, and other countries. All this development culminated into the Second World War. World War and the United Nations were established after the Second World War, out of the realization that there has to be a mechanism to establish world peace. The League of Nations did not succeed at all, but after the use of nuclear weapons in the Second World War, the idea took root that such destructive war should be stopped and that it is the collective responsibility of all the nations to do so. The United Nations was established after the Second World War to instill this understanding among all nations. So children, let us start with the chronology of establishing of the United Nations. Chronology of the establishment of the United Nations. The Atlantic Treaty, which was signed between the Prime Minister of England, that is Sir Winston Churchill, and the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt during the Second World War on 14th August 1941. According to this treaty, a decision was taken to set up a permanent mechanism to establish international security after the Second World War was over. Detailed discussions followed on these decisions in two conferences among the Allied power in 1944 and in 1945. A draft of a treaty to establish an international organization was prepared. At San Francisco in America, representatives of 15 countries drafted the Charter of the UN, that is United Nations. As soon as the war got over, the charter was signed on 24 October 1945 and the United Nations was established. The United Nations is an international organization of sovereign nations. Children, let us study about the objectives of the United Nations. The objectives of the United Nations. The United Nations is the world's largest international organization. In the beginning, only 50 countries were the member of the United Nations. But today, this number has gone up to 193. All these member nations come together on the platform of the United Nations. The United Nations has its own objectives, such as to establish friendly relation among the nations. Each and every nation should behave in a friendly way to one and the other. To enhance international security by solving international dispute. Means whatever dispute or whatever the conflict is between one nation and the other nation should be dealt or should be solved in a peaceful manner. That is about the international security. This international security is given to each and every nation by solving a dispute by the international means. To safeguard and foster human rights and the freedom. It means to give more importance to the human rights and the freedom of each and every nation. Along with this, the United Nations also aim in enhancing economic cooperation at the international level, which means the United Nations also going to provide the economic help to the nation under the international level. Principles of the United Nations. All member nations will have the same status. There should be no differentiation among the nations based on the geographical sizes, economic or the military power, which means all the nations should be treated equally. There should be no discrimination on the field of geographical size, economic status as well as the military power of any of the nation. All member nations of the United Nations should respect the freedom and the geographical unity of the other member nation, which means there should be a respect for other nation who belongs to the UN and there should be a unity among the members of the nation. Let us come to the next point, that is all member nations should solve their international dispute and mutual differences by peaceful means, which means that all the nations should live in a friendly way. There should be no disputes between one nation and the other nation. A kind of mutual understanding should be there to maintain peace in the organization or in the United Nations. Children, let us understand the structure of the United Nations, means the real formation or the framework of the United Nations. So, the United Nations is consists of six main organs, that is the General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, Trusteeship Council and Secretariat. So children, we are going to study each organ of the UN one by one in detail. So let's begin with the first organ, that is General Assembly. Important organization. Children, in the previous slide, we have studied about the different major organs of the UN. That is, about the General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and the Social Council, International Court of Justice, Trusteeship Council and Secretariat. Beyond this, there are many affiliated organizations of the United Nations that helps in its functions. They are called as specialized agencies. Working in the specific areas, they help different nations in those areas. Here are some of the important agencies under the UN, that is United Nations. So the first one is ILO, means International Labour Organization. The next one, FAO, means the Food and Agriculture Organization. WHO, World Health Organization. WB, World Bank. IMF, International Monetary Fund. UNICEF, that is United Nations Children's Fund. And the last one, UNESCO, which is called as United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So these are the certain organizations which also work in the different areas for the betterment of the society and to provide a kind of help to the people. Children, let us understand the role of the UNICEF. As we have studied that UNICEF is an affiliated organization of United Nations. It works towards making nutritious food and health care to the children. Several workshops were organized in India to find out measures to overcome the malnutrition among the babies and the children. The next organization, that is UNESCO. UNESCO is another affiliated organization of United Nations which work towards maintaining peace and security in the world by promoting cooperation between member countries in the field of education, science and culture. General Assembly. All the country members are the members of General Assembly. The position and the structure or the status of all the countries, whether they are poor, rich, big or small, is same in the General Assembly. Every year, the General Assembly meets in its session from the month of September to the month of December. During this session, the General Assembly discusses important issues like environment, disarmament, and many more. The decisions in the General Assembly are taken by majority. These decisions are in the form of resolutions. Thus, the General Assembly only passes resolution, it does not make law. Children, how in the Indian Parliament we are having different law as well as different bills. But in the General Assembly related to the UN, we are not having the law, but we are having a resolutions. The significance of the General Assembly lies in being a platform for representatives of member nations to come together and discuss and make policy decisions on issues of global importance. Let us move further. Functions of the General Assembly. To elect the non-permanent member of the Security Council. Next one, to choose the United Nations Secretary General and the Judge of the International Court of Justice in the consultation with the Security Council. The pass of the annual budget is done under the General Assembly of the UN. Children, let's discuss the evaluation of the Module 1 of the given lesson, that is United Nations. So question number 1, choose the right option and rewrite the sentence. The first one, this country is not permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. So the answer for the question is Germany. Second one, this international organization conducts workshops in India on remedial measures to tackle the problem of malnutrition among the children. So, as children, we have studied that UNICEF is the organization which look under the issues of malnutrition of the child. So, the answer for the question is UNICEF. Let's move to the next one. The number of the member in the United Nations. So, children, as we have all studied in the United Nations, we have total 193 members. Let us move further to the next part of the evaluation. Question number 2. Explain with reason whether the following statements are true or false. First one. The United Nations General Assembly is a platform to discuss global problems. So the given statement is true, as we all have studied that every year the General Assembly meet in its session. During this session, the General Assembly discuss on the certain topics such as the environmental issues, disarmament, and many more. The significance of the General Assembly lies in being a platform for the representatives of member nations to come together and discuss and make policy decisions on the issues of the global importance. Let us move to the next one. The status of all the member nations of the United Nations is not equal. So the given statement is false, as we have studied that all nations should be given the equal status under the UN. There is no discrimination among nations based on the geographical size, economic and the military power. Let us move to the next question. Answer the following question in brief. Write the objectives of the United Nations. The children, for writing this answer, kindly read the textbook thoroughly and watch the video carefully. Thank you, my dear student, for listening me patiently. We will meet again in the next video. Till then, enjoy learning.